Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you some true single line fonts that I've found on a website recently. All the links will be in the accompanying blog post over on my applelover53.co.uk website. So if you're watching on YouTube, under the title of this video on YouTube there's a description box. You may not see it all, you may just see a word that says more. Click on the word more and it opens up the description box and there's a link directly to my website. Go to my website, find the blog tab which is along the top, and then just look for this blog post depending on when you're watching this video. And in that blog post will be the links to these fonts. So we've spoken about single line fonts before on my channel. You know, I've done live streams on them and I think I've even got a font playlist. I'll try and link it up in an information card at the end. And, you know, there are some fonts out there that say they're single line fonts. And if you draw them with your ScanNCut small, you know, you'll get a single line effect. But a true way to know if a font is a single line or a single stroke font is to make it bigger. And once you make it bigger, its faults, if you like, come to light. So for instance, this font here, excuse the fact that some of it's missing, my pen moved in the pen holder. But this font is called Banks Miles Single, and I have used it before and I've used it in videos. And if you make it small, you can get the effect of a single line font. But if you're doing a scrapbook page or something bigger and you make it bigger, you then start to see when you extend its size, this is 9 inches wide, this is 3 inches wide, you see that, you know, you see its flaws, if you like. So it's not a single line font, it's got holes in. And yes, you can fill it in using the fill option on your ScanNCut machine, but you don't always want to do that. So I found two fonts that are true single line fonts, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video. So this is the first one, again drawn at 9 inches, and this is the same font drawn at 3 inches. And then this is another one, again drawn at 9 inches and again drawn at 3 inches. And you can see when you make both of these fonts 9 inches wide, they are true single line fonts. And I think the subscription for this website alone is worth it just for this function. Again, the pen moved in the pen tool, that's why part of the R's missing. I did stop you'll see in the next part of the video, I did stop the video partway through when I changed my pen holder. So if you want to know about these single line fonts and you want to know where I got them from, keep watching. Okay, I forgot to say, this is the pen I used. So it's a Sharpie, ultra fine point. Have shown these before, and if you look at the nib, it's very, very, very small. In fact, it looks bigger on screen than it actually is. Very, very, very fine. So that's the pen I used also. Okay, so I'm going to retrieve the file I sent over from Canvas Workspace. So I've got my machine turned on. I'm going to go to retrieve data from Canvas Workspace, which is like I've sent it over Wi-Fi, and the file is going to show up on screen, and here it is. So I'm going to save it into the machine just for now in case I want to use it later, and I'm going to say OK. Okay, so I'm not sure how well you're going to see this on screen, but basically what I've done in Canvas Workspace, I brought in one of these single line fonts and I typed the word happy birthday, which is the word that you can see here at the top. And I made it big. I made it 9 inches wide. And the reason I did that is because a lot of fonts that say they're a single line or single stroke fonts will kind of give you that effect when you make them smaller in size. And I've shown this on my channel before. I think I have a font playlist. I'll try and link it in like an information card at the end of this video on screen. It should pop up for you. But when you make that font bigger, you normally see that it really isn't a true single line font. As I say, I typed the word and I made it 9 inches wide, and I blew it up at 100% in Canvas Workspace, and it still looked like a single line font. So I duplicated it and I made it 3 inches wide. So these two fonts at the top are the same font. One's at 9 inches wide and one's at 3 inches wide. And this particular font is upper and lowercase. The next font I found is all uppercase. So again, I just duplicated the happy birthday, changed it to this uppercase font and made it 9 inches wide. And then I did the same thing. I duplicated it and made it 3 inches wide. This font down here, the last font, so hopefully you can see this. So this is a font I've used in the past that is called Bank Smile Single. So you would think it's a single line or single stroke font. If you draw it at a small size, it will give you the single line font effect, which is great. And I've used it and I've, told you about it in YouTube lives and on my channel. But let's say, for instance, you wanted to make a scrapbook page, or you were making a bigger card. If you then make this font bigger, again, I've made this 9 inches wide, just so that you can compare all three. You'll see, if you look closely, that you can see the gaps in between all the lines. So it's not a single line font. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my pen tool in the machine. I'm going to use a Sharpie ultra fine point pen because this has got a very fine point, and if there's going to be any gaps exposed in a font, this will do it because the point on the nib is very, very small. So I'm just going to pop this into my universal pen holder, and I'm going to pop this into the ScanNCut machine. Okay, so you can see my fine point Sharpie in my universal pen holder. And I'm going to draw all these 6 words. And then we'll have a close-up look at it at the end. So I'm going to say, okay. In fact, I'm just going to go back and I'm going to do a background scan because my words are wider than my piece of paper. So I want to see if I can get them all on if I rotate my piece of card, not paper. Because I forgot in Canvas Workspace I made them 9 inches wide and my A4 piece of paper is only 8 1/4. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rotate the card because I want you to see how these are going to draw. I'm just going to do a background scan again, and then I might just have to move some of the fonts on the page. I'd forgotten about that when I made this in Canvas Workspace. So I'm going to go into the background and make it darker. Oh, and it looks as though it just about fits, so that's perfect. So I don't need to resize anything. So just to recap, the three big words that you can see on screen are all 9 inches wide, and the copy of the word underneath each one is 3 inches wide. So I'm going to say, okay, select draw, because I assigned them all as a draw line in Canvas Workspace, and I'm going to press start and let this start drawing. I may speed this bit up because it says it's going to take 5 minutes. Okay, so that's finished. I'm just going to unload it and swap to my other camera. Okay, so I'm going to take it off the mat. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. Now, the only thing I did do, you may have seen, I stopped the machine. My pen was moving in the universal pen holder, so I swapped pen holders. So you'll see the first one is completely a single stroke font, and that's at 9 inches wide. There you go, you can see from end to end it's 9 inches wide, as is this, as is this. And then, as I say, I copied the font and I made it 3 inches. So obviously it's going to go thicker in stroke the smaller you make it. But you can see that the way to tell a true single stroke font is to make it big. Okay, and that's the whole object of this exercise, to show you and to tell you where you can get this font. This one is where I noticed that the pen was starting to slip in the pen holder. There's nothing wrong with the font. You can see it's still a single line font. And then when it's made at 3 inches, again, you can see how perfect it is. These look like stamped images. And then this is the font that's called Bank Smiles Single, that in the past I have used as a single line font, you know, in a smaller font. But you can see when you blow it up, or when you make it 9 inches wide, it's not a single stroke font at all. You can see the gaps between the lines, and then there it is at 3 inches. So now, you know, I could just quite easily cut this out, which I think I'm going to do quickly, and add it to a card. So let's see. Chop that off and chop this off. Just going to bring in my little guillotine. Make this smaller. I'm going to try and get it a bit closer to the tops of the letters. So there it is. And there's the same font at 9 inches wide. You can see it's a true single line font. That's how to tell make something bigger. So for instance, this is a card I made recently, and I can just as easily now pop that up on here or put it inside, and it just looks as if it's a stamped image. So that's today's video. So I hope you find it helpful. In the YouTube video, directly under the title of the video, it will give you the description of this video. And depending on what device you're looking at it on, you may not be able to see the whole description, but you should see a word that says more. Click on the word more, and that will open up the description box. It'll either be directly under the video, depending if you're watching maybe on a computer, or if it's a mobile device, the description might open up on the right hand side of the screen. And in that description box, under the description of this video, it says my website, and there's a link. If you click that link and go directly to my website, or you can type it in, it's here on screen, applelover53.co.uk. You can just type that into your internet search browser, and that will take you to my site. And then once you're on my site, you'll see the tab that says blog. Look for this post, and all the links for where to get this font will be in the blog post. Okay? So anyway, please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.